Welcome everyone to Almost Cancelled, the TV News podcast. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Also, Firefly's on my lap, changing positions like 5 times in the last 30 seconds, so I'm dealing with that. That's going on. This is a TV podcast, everyone. We talk about pilots, we talk about renewals, cancellations, series orders, that kind of thing. Anything that's going on that's of some interest if you're a relatively nerdy TV viewer. Or TV viewer with good taste.
Yeah.
Or has become the tradition, just make fun of the more normal shows. Yeah. So that is what we're going to get into. And I was expecting a quiet week. It's actually, there's no big news, but there's a lot of things.
It's that period where we've had the Thanksgiving break. They get all the stuff out now before the Christmas break.
I suppose that's what we're at. But we'll kick off with renewals and cancellations as per usual. And starting off this week, we have a renewal for Surface from Apple. This is for season 2. This is Gugu Mbatha Raw's show. But it's got a renewal, so very good.
I've not seen it, but I did just get a new TV, which has given me 6 months of Apple. So guess I'm back on the Apple.
I think mine just ran out after a year and a half. It took a long time.
Yeah.
But it did eventually run out. This is the one where she's got amnesia. She's got memory loss.
Oh, yeah.
And, cool. So that got renewed. As did Tulsa King at Paramount Plus. This is the Sylvester Stallone crime show.
Oh, yeah. I remember it being marketed pretty heavily, but then I didn't see anyone actually talking about it.
It's from the same guy who does Yellowstone. As far as I know, it's not part of the Yellowstone television universe, but
I'm blank on his name, but I'm sure I've seen Taylor Sheridan. I definitely seen some movies of his that I liked. So
stunning insight there.
Well, I haven't seen the show, and I'm assuming neither of you.
You just sort of petered out a bit there at the end.
I've seen some movies of his I liked, so it's probably all right.
I wasn't looking for quite. I was just it's been renewed. Sylvester Stallone's got another year of a steady paycheck. Congratulations.
I'm pretty sure he can get a paycheck anytime he wants.
Probably. He's done better than some of the action stars as far as keeping his name fairly in high caliber. I
think it helps that he's relatively speaking proficient behind the camera as well, right? And in other roles in that, so he's probably a bit more versatile.
That's probably true. Cancellations. Netflix cancelled The Midnight Club after 1 season. This was Flanagan's new show that debuted in October.
Yes, but how much of that was a cancellation? How much of that is to do with things that we'll be talking about later, I assume?
Well, I didn't actually put it in late. I was just going to bring it up now. But Flanagan and his partner have signed a new deal with Amazon, and they'll be going there. But what struck me about this, one, it's another show cancelled by Netflix, but who seemed to be on a cancelling spree this last year and 2 years in that realm. But what got me about this is that the day this show premiered, I saw a tweet from Flanagan asking the audience if they were seeing the show pop up on their homepage, which felt like a weird thing to see from a showrunner on the day of a show's release. He's double checking that
it came out.
not so much that it came out, that they're pushing it on the main page. I think he knew it was out. You could find it if you search for it. But is it being pushed to the audience? Is it today's new thing here at the top of the page for the next week should say?
Do you think the lack of that push is kind of what's pushed him towards Amazon? Potentially.
I'm not saying it's the sole reason, but I can't imagine it helped.
Yeah. Which is strange because obviously he's had a pretty good relationship with Netflix for 5 or 6 years at this point.
He's made a couple of shows with them. He's done at least one movie with them, Gerald's Game. And
yeah, I feel like he's done a couple of movies that I feel I've seen 1 or 2 that have been on there.
He did host, and that did go to Netflix. I don't know if that was made with Netflix, so that might have been a sort of hindsight kind of deal. But
yeah, that's true.
but he obviously did the Hunt in the Hill House. He kind of produced the sequel season to that, but not. There wasn't a season 2 per se. It was kind of a new story, but
and you had Midnight Mass,
which was just last year, and everyone was talking about it.
I really like it.
This came out. There was some people talking about it, people who were keeping it, to pay attention because they like Mike Flanagan, but it didn't quite maybe crack the zeitgeist in the same way. And and what's notable is the day this news came out, Flanagan went on Twitter and posted a link to his Tumblr and said, here's the game plan for season 2. It's not going to happen now. Here's all the information, all the things we set up that aren't going to get answered. Here's all the answers. Which
I respect that.
I mean, it's definitely it's not happening now, and it does the whole thing. Like, even if they're never going to say anything publicly, it does maybe feel like this relationship somewhere soured for whatever reason.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe to it. And if he's asking, like, I don't know where it started, because you say he was asking that on the day it came out as to whether or not it was on the front page. Was that Netflix were not pushing it because he was already in talks with Amazon and they didn't want to boost his profile anymore to give that a rival that cred, or did he leave because of Netflix weren't pushing it, promoting it properly? Like, it's really hard to say where it started.
It's hard. Well, I mean, again, I don't think that's the only factor.
Probably not the only one.
I've got a feeling that Netflix cancelling a lot of shows might have something to, maybe there's a
general business model is clearly
there's a general unsafe feeling about planning out things for Netflix. Because the trend over the last 2 years has just been to cancel things. Whether they're season 1s, things that just got a season 2 after a break. And
things still more often than not tend to get a season 2, and it's after that things get a bit riskier. More often than not exclusively.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, I was curious today because I actually looked up. I don't have it up just now, but I just googled what did Netflix cancel in 2022, and there was 17 notable things cancelled, and it's almost as much as last year, but there's still another month left, so they might still top last year's
they
number.
can top it. Yeah.
Basically, ever since the pandemic hit, it feels like there've been a lot more cut. I don't think it's the pandemic's fault. I know the pandemic was directly responsible with a couple of them, but I think it's more just that's coincided with other. I've got an interesting thing later related to competition in the streaming space, which we'll get to.
Yeah, there's obviously that. We'll cover that in there. But even aside from that, they've been in debt for years, because that's been their approach has been borrow money to make shows, and we'll get it back later. And it's clearly not working out that well, and they've started to realize that. Hence, we've had the introduction of the ad supported plan recently. I think them being a bit more frugal with their shows is just a natural extension of their current business model.
Yeah, but then there's of course the idea that they're so frugal that no one will trust them to ever make a season 2 and will not invest anything in any of their shows. Yeah,
it's a catch-22, isn't it?
So, there you go. It's obviously they're still spending a shit ton in Stranger Things, but Stranger Things was such a breakout hit that it's guaranteed to get its ending. But most shows don't have that luxury. Most shows have to find their audience, and and we can go back to talking about how shows should be weekly because it gains more of an audience over time, all those other things. But fundamentally, we've talked a lot every couple of episodes, it feels like this year, about a new development, and they might go weekly, or they might change their release schedule, or they're disappointed that things aren't getting enough numbers on the first weekend, and anything past that first weekend is meaningless to them.
It's so tough because we want things weekly, obviously. I think internally Netflix probably wants it weekly just from a monetary perspective, because hey, if someone's only interested in one show and it's 10 episodes, you can lock them in for 3 months.
Yeah, they might wait until the end to binge it, but that's
always a possibility.
But that's them like you're paying the premium to get the episodes brand new, effectively, at that point.
But that's the case on any service. But I think the problem that Netflix have is their branding, that and not intentional branding, but the Netflix model. They kind of popularized binge culture. Definitely didn't introduce it, but they popularized binge culture.
I don't think it matters. I think the fact that almost every other service has either just started out weekly or made the switch to being mostly weekly, I think no one, Like, yes, there'll be a certain group of people who are always going to complain online because they prefer binge and don't understand why anyone wants it weekly. That's always going to be there. But I think, by and large, the world as a whole will shrug and say, okay.
I suspect you're right, but I imagine there are people in that Netflix boardroom who are terrified of making that jump, because what if they alienate their core audience?
That's why they do it with something that's guaranteed. I think that's why you do it with Stranger Things season 5. I think you do it with something so big that people care about so much that they're going to stick around for it anyway.
I think it's really notable that the first thing I can think of that Amazon experimented with, because obviously, you know, not so long ago, Amazon were also the Netflix model of here's everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing I think they experimented with it with in a higher profile was the Grand Tour, which, you know, the Top Gear continuation essentially, and because they knew it would have a pretty hefty audience that they were bringing in with it, they felt confident enough to try it. And like I say, you know, you do it with that thing that's a big guaranteed hit that people are going to come for no matter what, and just see, you know, if you notice a drop in where your expectations are, okay, you've miscalculated.
Yeah.
Clearly, every other service has gone, well, this hasn't miscalculated. This has paid off for us.
Yeah. It's better in just about every way, except for the fact that for some people who like to binge, that they're annoyed they have to wait. But the beautiful thing about the weekly model is that you can still wait and binge it if you want. But this pressure to have to rush through a show because you don't want it spoiled, is I think is a detriment to shows. And as a content creator who makes reviews for things, having to race to review the damn thing while people still care about talking about it is honestly painful. I just finished 1899 and I enjoyed the season. You know, I had some flaws, but there was a lot of good stuff to talk about. But it was a bit of, you know, the last couple of episodes, it was like, oh god, I need to get these out soon, as quickly as possible, because like the view count is dwindling every like hour idly, pretty much at a certain point.
Much, yeah. And like I said, people have that control. So like, Paige doesn't like watching things weekly because she loses. You know, she'll watch like 2 or 3 weeks and then she'll fall behind, and it'll be like, now it's a chore to catch back up. So she tends to just, maybe she'll watch the first episode to see when it comes out, but other than that, she'll tend to just wait and binge the whole, you know, a season at a time. Maybe sometimes even 2 or 3, but usually, you know, a season. And
you have that choice, but I think the big thing is that I've seen someone cynically say, why don't you just agree with a bunch of friends to all watch a show at the same pace so you can talk it and have the conversation thing? And it's like, yeah, but that's like
trying for the fact that people have lives.
Yeah, trying to organize a group of people to commit to that and stick to it when they have other commitments and schedules. The great thing about weekly TV is that it takes all of the frustration of doing that away and just makes it the natural course of events. And that's the way it worked for a long time. And it still works better. So here we are. It works better, I think, for the audience as a whole. Even if individual people don't prefer it, it works better for the audience as a whole because it can grow the audience. The word of mouth can make people want to catch up. They can see the numbers of a show grow up over the course of its 10 episodes or whatever.
Like, I know you don't care for the show, but can you imagine if Game of Thrones had been like a binge, like season, not like Netflix model of season at a time? That would not have been the cultural juggernaut that it is.
No. And honestly, I think they're about to have a hit with Last of Us, and I think the fact that that's going to be weekly for 9 weeks is going to help that show.
Probably, like, yeah, you know, we've seen it with, I think the Disney Plus shows have been a real strong example. Like, you know, going back to, you know, Mandalorian season 1, the way that everyone was talking about that for the first, you know, what was it, like 3 months, give or take. I think it was something like that.
Yeah,
that was the only thing anyone was talking about every week.
And I'll bring up the example again. This last season of Stranger Things, they split those last 2 episodes away, not for these reasons necessarily, but the simple fact is that wait between episodes 7 and 8, because there was a month between it and people had a chance to think about it and be excited for the ending, made those last 2 episodes feel really special. You can have that every single week.
It's not that complicated, Netflix. The TV industry figured this out decades ago.
Oh dear. Anyway. But then they have to cancel all their goddamn shows because nothing's doing the insane numbers they want it to, and here we are. We'll come back to that a bit. Here's a sad one. So, not that I care about the show necessarily, because I watched the pilot and it was kind of ungood. But Moonhaven, right, has been cancelled at AMC. Technically AMC Plus. It's in the future. There's like a colony on the moon. Earth's kind of like a cyberpunk shithole with nothing but smog, and like there's a paradise on the moon that have been sort of like
people, presumably.
Well, it's not so much rich people. It's kind of like a colony that was formed to try and like, and they've got all these like strict rules that are different and they're very peaceful. It's kind of like a cult, but the whole point is to learn like how they live up there to then improve life everywhere by following their example, kind of thing. But there's corruption, blah blah, right? So the show wasn't very good. It was pretty sloppy written and all these other things. But the only reason why this is an interesting cancellation is that it had already been renewed and they've changed their mind and cancelled it.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah,
I feel for anyone working on that who thought they had another year's paycheck coming in.
I know. So yeah, AMC across the board are laying off like 20% of its staff. They're doing a lot of like restructuring right now, and this is what's led to this. Like they're writing off shows, even ones that had already renewed. So
I'm not surprised because it doesn't fit what I think of as what is the typical AMC show right now, which kind of still follows in that Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy mold of the kind of morally grey, kind of slightly older man.
I don't necessarily think this would have affected it, but I am glad Saul finished before this happened, just in case.
Yeah,
just in case.
Just in case. But you see that fits in the AMC mold of what their standard show is right now, and has been for a good decade.
Yeah, well there you go. You mentioned the Mandalorian. We got a premiere date for season 3. It's coming on the 1st of March, obviously 2023. So
yeah, that's cool. We've got Bad Batch starting. I can't remember if that's late December or early January.
I'm sure that was announced like a month or two ago, and I told you about it.
Yeah. But my point is, that'll probably run more or less kind of exactly into that. I imagine.
I think Disney would like nothing more than for Marvel and Star Wars to always have one show each on.
Why wouldn't they want that, right?
I'm pretty sure that's what they want.
Also, just while we're on Star Wars, very briefly, I finished the last episode of Andor. I know I'm like a week late, but I watched it yesterday, and very good season overall. I would say comfortably the best Star Wars show right now. Just on the fact that I think it's the most accessible to non-Star Wars fans as well. I just think it's the best written show, and there is absolutely no kind of look at these Easter eggs. I mean, there's some like set design, just like costuming things that are like in the background, but absolutely none of the plot, dialogue, characters reference kind of anything at all.
I mean, I thought the first episode was pretty good for what it was. I didn't come back, but
I think it's actually like it's not just a good Star Wars show, because obviously I'm going to enjoy most of those anyway. I think it's a very good season of just sci-fi TV.
Okay. We got a premiere date for That 90s Show.
I forgot that was coming.
Yeah, January 19th. This is Netflix, so good luck. It's got name recognition though.
It does.
It's actually
and nostalgia for the 90s is high right now.
Yeah. When did that 70s show end? Was it probably about like they started to? Has it actually been 20 years since the end of that show?
I think we worked out it was going to be roughly the same kind of distance away from. Yeah,
that's right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't have much. I was never that into that 70s show. It never really did much for me. But have at it.
No,
people.
but this will hit all your 90s nostalgia buttons. So.
Oh yes, very maybe.
Yeah.
So. We got a trailer. We got a few trailers actually, but there's one that sticks out that we should talk about, and that is Gen V, which is the spin-off to The Boys. So it's very much a teaser, and it's a lot of quick cuts of just characters and outrageous violence, and not much else.
Set to music, but
yes,
I mean, it looks fine. I'm waiting for an actual trailer with some substance to it, but I'm not worried because The Boys has such a great track record at this point that I'm confident in them.
I'm feeling, and nothing about this looked bad. Certainly, it looked like it had the same outrageous kind of sense of like adult tone and humor and violence and all that stuff.
as long as it still has some semblance of heart and character to back that up, like The Boys
sure.
does. And I'm pretty sure the people writing that show are aware that is what. Well, it's not just the hyperviolence that people are there for. I think that they know what makes it function as a story as well. So I'm sure that'll translate across this. I'm not worried.
Yeah. And you know what? I am so happy that they didn't call it The Boys Gen V. I applaud them for that.
I can respect that, yeah.
Just put some things in the trailer that make it clear. And you see that in the trailer, you see a bit of A-Train, like his photo on the vending machine.
And it'll be really easy still on on your advertising banners from Amazon. Whether that's online or like on the side of a bus or whatever.
Just
it'll be really easy to say, spin off from The Boys or whatever,
in the world of the boys or something. Yeah, whatever.
It's easy.
Yeah. But you can do that with season 1, then you don't need to do it ever again. It can just be on its own.
Yeah.
So cool. But yeah, no, it looks solid enough. This is an early teaser, seemingly, because I think this is probably not coming till like late spring, maybe summer.
Yeah, it just said 2023. I would not be surprised if it takes that kind of early summer slot that The Boys has typically kind of fallen into.
Yeah, I would concur with that. I'll just mention there was a trailer for Witcher Blood Dragon, or not Blood Dragon, Witcher Blood Origin, which is the spin-off. I didn't watch it because no one cares what I think of a spin-off to a show that I gave up on after one episode. But
I didn't watch this trailer. I watched the first one they put out. I'll probably watch it. It's I think this is the Michelle Yeoh one, and it looks like a fantasy show. And I think it's coming on. I want to say it's coming like Christmas Eve, something like that.
I think it's the 26th. I think it's the day after Christmas.
Is it? Okay. I knew it was around Christmas time. Yeah, I'll probably watch it.
And then the other trailer we got, which I did watch and we'll mention a bit, is The Last of Us got a new sort of more full trailer with a bit more plot and character in it, and again, more sequences from the game that you can kind of recognize. Although notably, there's a couple of characters that I didn't recognize from the game where I'm like, I have no idea what this segment is.
There'll probably be another new trailer next week because I know you got the two main actors showing up at Game Awards. So
that's true.
I'm surprised if there's a trailer to go with that.
Yeah, there was a bunch of movie trailers this week from Brazil Comic Con. I don't know if that's also led to some of these things, but
possibly.
But yeah, I mean, it looks good. There's like snippets of just like Joel and Ellie talking to each other, and the lines don't even necessarily match lines that were in the game, but you definitely get the same relationship from them. There's a joke in the trailer where it's clearly early on. This is very late on spoilers because the premise of the show is that he has to travel a girl who's immune, right? That's the premise.
That's the premise,
right?
Yeah.
And so there's a scene in the trailer which is clearly from near the start, maybe probably episode 1, where it's Tess, I think's her name. Take this girl, and it's just been explained to him that she's immune, and she's shown him the bite, and he's like, if she even like twitches, implying that if he even thinks for a second she's not actually immune, he'll just kill her, right? And immediately Ellie just starts doing an impression of a clicker, and it's kind of funny.
Definitely wasn't in the game.
That was not in the game, no.
No, but that is, I would say, definitely on point as nailing those characters, because it could have been in the game and you wouldn't blink an eye at that.
Yeah, and there's a couple of little quick exchanges. I was like, I don't remember that line of dialogue, but it does sound like them as well, which is good. So you see some other characters that you might recognize from the game, and there's even a small Troy Baker cameo. He's like, just
as there should be.
Yeah, he's just kind of in there. He's kind of like a henchman to some like a more important character. So no, it looks good. There's a tease at the end of one of the bigger monsters from the game as well, which looked good.
So yeah, I didn't watch the trailer, but mainly not because of anything against the show. Just I'm sure regular viewers know I tend to only really watch one trailer of something, and at least one proper trailer. And I did feel like the first Last of Us trailer we got was enough to give me, okay, I know what to expect.
Yeah, I think when if you've played the game all the way through, you know the story as well. You don't need as much of a selling point. I think what's getting me about watching it is that it looks very high in production value and directing quality. It looks good, just visually.
Well, it's your, is this one that's your Chernobyl guy, right?
Well, rating, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe I have to double check who the director is.
I'm not sure on director. I think it might be, because I feel like it is, because that was the part of Chernobyl I didn't like.
Because you're weird. Everyone else.
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware. Look, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I didn't like it.
I just once in a while, there's something that just hits that is universally praised as one of the best things of the year, and you just sit there and go, eh.
I'd love to love it. I'd love to have been feeling the same thing that all of you guys did.
It doesn't want you anymore.
I would have done.
It doesn't want you anymore.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, no, it looks good. This could actually be a genuinely great adaptation of a video game, which is...
Hey, it had to happen eventually.
Which is something. And even if you like Witcher, which I don't, that's an adaptation of the book series, which came first. So that's not really
I would say, I think The Witcher is quite a good TV show. Not like the best show ever, but I think it's a quite good fantasy TV show. I think it's a pretty good adaptation of the books from what I've read. Yeah, but it's an adaptation of the books, so it's irrelevant in this conversation. Yeah,
it's funny because the new Mario trailer came out for the movie this past week, and like it looks like it's doing what it needs to do. It's got like there's a bit of Mario Kart in there. There's some cameos from other Nintendo things, and it's just doing a lot of things that is going to please Mario fans in there.
I have heard the trailer looks. I've not seen it yet, but I've heard generally positive opinions, more so than I think I expected from.
Yeah. Notably, there wasn't a lot of Mario talking though, and that's what people are I think most concerned about is the Chris Pratt factor. But
yeah,
the reason why I'm bringing it up is that I think that what Mario, that movie that's coming out next year, and what this Last of Us TV show has in common is that they both picked the right home for what they are and where they should be. A HBO show is the perfect place for a Last of Us adaptation, just like a CGI animated film is the perfect place for a Super Mario adaptation.
Yes, 100%.
And, that said, though, it will not be as good as the Bob Hoskins classic 1993 science fiction
extravaganza.
Magnum opus was the word I was going to.
Jesus, you're going that strong. Yep, sure.
Hey, I guarantee this. I think the new film will be fine. I bet
it won't be as memorable. Yeah,
it will not be. Well, I was going to use the word. It will not be as interesting as that 1993 film.
Do you know what? I have lots of criticisms about that movie. Lots, many criticisms. Not being interesting is definitely not one of them.
This new film it'll be what fans want, and it'll be nice and safe. It'll be safe and cozy.
And it might be good.
It may be very, very good whilst being safe and cozy. But that 1993 film is not safe, nor is it cozy.
It is a wild ride of a movie.
Anyway, let's get some other TV news here. So we got Dune the Sisterhood. Just some casting for it, but the one that's notable is Mark Strong has been added to the cast. Cool. Along with Jade Anuka from His Dark Materials and Small Axe, and Chris Mason from Broadchurch and Dirty John. So that's going along nicely. Yeah, adding the cast. They're getting into shooting. Yeah, Mark Strong's good. So good stuff. This is an interesting one actually. So apparently Warner Brothers Television are close to closing a deal. So it's not quite done yet, but they're apparently close to closing a deal with Amazon for DC animated IP. Which is interesting because they have their own service called HBO Max.
Yeah. But they also don't seem to be too interested in producing too much content for HBO Max. Right? We spoke about this recently.
Yeah. Yeah, with animation, it used to be about staying in-house, but now we're doing it at different platforms. This comes from Channing Dungey. Dungey's was at the Music Content London, stating the studio is exploring animated IP on different platforms, including HBO Max, but apparently the deal is close as with Amazon, so they'll be making a variety of animated things potentially for Amazon.
Look, I mean, whatever deal works out for them with that, if they think they can get more money out of it that way, why not? Like, film studios have been doing this for decades.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So there's no reason why they shouldn't. Once you factor in the deals, that'll include maybe some royalties as well. They might get more out of it than they would on HBO Max, where they've just got their flat subscription fee.
Yeah, it's the dream of the one positive to them all having their own streaming service was the idea that, well, at least their entire library would just always be there on their service And that I feel like that dream is just crumbling and burning in a fire before our eyes, as they're all realizing, shit, this isn't sustainable. It's actually better if another streaming service co-finances something somehow, like the Hollywood accounting kicks in, and somehow all these wires being mixed up and crossed makes it work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. It's because it's more than one revenue stream, even if they don't own it. Like, because they're limited on the subscription fees by getting money from other people as well. Yeah, sometimes it works out that you get more profit that way.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah. So next up we have some interesting top 10s to look at. Well, one in particular, but we've got past years to compare it to. So this is from OTT Video Market Tracker, who track, this is specifically the US, the most used streaming services.
Okay. Has Netflix fallen down?
So we've got the top 10. And for the first time ever, since I guess they started tracking this,
Netflix at number 1.
It's not number 1. It's fallen to number 2. Netflix, so I've got 2019, 2020, and 2021 as well here.
Oh, are you wanting to guess?
Hold on a sec. Right. So Netflix was number 1 the last 3 years, probably more than that, but certainly the last 3 years. And Prime was number 2 the last 3 years.
Interesting.
So
I'm going to say wild card, and it's Disney Plus.
Nah, Prime's number 1. So they've swapped. But yeah, there's no harm in guessing the rest here. What do you think number 3 is?
Is it Disney Plus? If it's not Disney Plus, I think it'll be Apple. I think those are 3 and 4.
Number 3 is Hulu.
I forgot about Hulu. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot it existed.
What's interesting though is that Hulu was in number 3 in 2019 and 2020, but it swapped with something else last year. But then it swapped back this year to Hulu being number 3, which was just kind of interesting. So what do you think number 4 is? What do you think took over Hulu last year and has went back down to number 4 this year?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Apple, just because of the amount of free subscriptions they give out.
Disney Plus.
No, damn it. I wonder why. Because is that maybe some people bored of, Marvel and Star Wars shows potentially this year, or
it could
maybe
be.
it's just their price increase that they had.
Yeah,
and
but
obviously, people are tougher this year.
Yeah, I mean, Hulu and Disney get bundled. Maybe if there's enough people getting the bundles, and then there's just enough people who only want Hulu because they don't care about the Disney stuff.
That's possible, yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that goes straight onto Hulu that airs on network TV that some people might care about, and that might get a big chunk of the audience as well. So there's a lot of reasons. It's interesting though that it's still competitive with Hulu. I mean, obviously Disney kind of own both, so they're winning here.
They're raking it in either way. Yeah.
What do you think it's next? What do you think number 5 is?
Is it Apple?
No, HBO Max is number 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been number 5 2 years in a row. Obviously, they didn't exist in 2020, so
no, they wouldn't have done.
So they weren't there. Yeah.
I'm just gonna guess Apple every single one until I'm right.
Number 6 is ESPN Plus.
I was never gonna think of that.
Probably not. Number 7.
Is it Apple?
Paramount Plus.
What? No, I don't believe this. This can't be true. There is no way Paramount Plus has more subscribers than Apple.
They got the Star Treks, and they got
No, I don't believe it.
They got Yellowstone.
No, I don't believe it.
Number 8.
Is it Apple?
It's Apple TV Plus.
Play.
Number 9 is actually the first time this one's cracked onto the top 10.
I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
It's Stan.
US. This is the US numbers.
It could still be Stan. It's that impressive.
It's an Australia only service, you tit.
It's just that impressive.
Number 9 is Peacock.
Joe, I forgot. Like always, I forget Peacock exists.
And number 10, I don't think you'll ever get, because you'll forget it probably has a streaming side, is the Stars as number 10.
It has a dedicated streaming side?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, because HBO technically had HBO like Go or whatever before. Yeah,
That's true.
it is there. But what's interesting though? So I mentioned a few things there, right? So Peacock only made it out of the top 10 for the first time. What do you think got kicked off 2020? Because otherwise it's the same things. The other 9 are the same, right? That are there. What do you think got kicked off of 2021 to make room for Peacock?
Was it that weird wrestling one that died?
No. They wish they could make the top 10 ever.
Yeah, I had it.
Another cable channel that has its streaming side.
AMC?
Nah, Showtime. Which I think is just getting folded into Paramount Plus now, to be honest. So, I mean, it's not even necessarily
not relevant anymore.
A failure. But what's interesting, though, is, like 2020 launched Disney Plus. It also launched HBO Max. It also launched Apple TV Plus. It was CBS All Access at the time, but that was kind of still new. So I think 2019 is quite interesting to look at because all these things hadn't launched yet. So you've got Netflix, Prime, and Hulu, and then you get HBO Now at number 4, and you got CBS All Access at number 5, and that would have been pretty new because that launched in 2017, so it'd been a couple of years old, I suppose. Really, that's so technically, obviously, it's changed its name, but that's 5 years old already. That's
that launched with Discovery.
Yeah,
right?
it started 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Anyway, you get Stars at number 6. You get Showtime at number 7. You get ESPN Plus at number 9. But number 8 and 10 are just like they just get jettisoned away as soon as other things launched, and those are MLB TV. Which I assume still exists for its niche, but obviously just bigger, more broad things exist now. And 10's Sling TV, which does still exist. I know it still exists, but obviously can't compete with the big dogs once these other big things launch. I just thought that was interesting.
They haven't got Disney money to be slapping around.
No. So yeah, it's very consistent, and for the first time, Netflix has been bumped for the top spot in Prime.
I'm not surprised by that. I think as well with Prime, it's worth always remembering many people, myself included, do not get just Prime Video. They get the full Prime package, with the the delivery perks and everything else that comes with. So that does boost their numbers pretty significantly.
And it's worth mentioning there's a package for Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus together. And so that kind of boosts all their numbers a little bit, because some people say, "Oh, go on, I'll take all 3 then."
For an extra couple of dollars, whatever it is per add-on.
Yeah, so so I thought it was interesting to look at, and you can see which ones kind of Paramount being above Apple is a little surprising, I suppose, in some ways, but at the same time, Apple doesn't have the back catalog, so
I mean that's true, but I would say maybe this is just the circles that we tend to run in a little bit more. I see people talking about Apple shows significantly more than I do any.
Oh, so do I, but I think this is it's a different audience, a more mainstream audience, maybe likes Paramount Plus more, and that's just how it is. But that'll take us on to the new shows we're going to talk about, the new dramas. So buckle in for this.
I guess there are some,
So Scarlett Johansson is going to star and executive produce in Just Cause. No, it's not based on the video game.
Damn it.
Just in case that's where your mind was going.
That was literally the first place my mind went.
Yeah. It's a thriller limited series based on John Katzenbach's 1992 novel. It's a competitive situation. This landed at Amazon Studios with a straight-to-series order at Prime. So they've got another big, star in a limited series.
Well, they've got money to be thrown around, clearly.
Apparently, yeah. So the TV adaptation of the book's male protagonist, Miami newspaper editorial writer Matt Cowart, will be undergoing a gender swap, and instead it'll be a female character played by Johansson, playing the series' female lead Madison Maddie Cowart, a struggling reporter for a Florida newspaper sent to cover the final days of an inmate on death row. And she has kind of a connection to this, because when she was 10, she appeared in the 1995 movie adaptation of this as like a daughter of someone. So she's actually got like a connection to the start of her career to this.
Fair enough. It's obviously a very dry description.
Yes.
But I think, with a good direction, and I would assume a good performance, say what you want about her, she's a good actress.
Oh, yeah. I see when I first read this earlier, I kind of misunderstood what it said at first, and I thought I thought she was taking another problematic. You know how she got a lot of flack for Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yeah.
I thought she was playing a trans character. And I thought, oh, this is a bold choice given like some of the controversy you've had. And I was, oh no, they're just changing the character from the book. It's not the character themselves. Is okay. And I was like, okay, that's fair enough. No one's going to cry because a white dude got replaced with a woman. It's fine.
No, people can celebrate that. I'm pretty sure.
I say that there are assholes in the internet.
There will be, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the thing is, the assholes on the internet who will complain about those things probably don't care about this project.
No. See, this doesn't have robots in it or superheroes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're good.
Or proton packs.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it may end up in a special kind of thing, but obviously it's a bit of a dry read on its own.
It is, but I can, with trailer depending will determine whether I watch it. But I can see it being a really good show.
Yeah. So next up we got Cynthia Erivo and Renee Zellweger are teaming up. Arrival's going to be in it as well as producing it. Zellweger's just producing. So this is coming from MGM and it's in the works at Apple TV. So the project's in the early script stages. Arrival's going to be leading as a neuropsychologist wanted for fraud, kidnapping, and murder. Throughout the series, her public fall from grace will have question marks hanging over it, whether she was the victim of a dark conspiracy or is in grave danger to the government and society. So,
okay.
Yeah. Again, it's the sort of thing where it's just a bit of a generic sounding thriller, sounds a bit dry, but again,
good direction, yeah.
Yeah. She's a good actress in what I've seen her in here or there. She was probably one of the best things about that otherwise pretty dull Outsider TV show we did way back.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was pretty dull. Yeah. And I think interesting. We were just talking on the streaming services about keeping things not in house as much. MGM, obviously, I think they're owned by Amazon now, right?
They are. In fact, Amazon, I think, just restructured MGM's TV department in some way.
Yeah, and here they are producing content for Apple.
It's a funny world.
Which just tells you that clearly this in the long term makes them more money, right?
Yeah. Next up, best-selling author David Baldacci's Atlee Pine book series. So the books, the Atlee Pine series, is heading to television. Amazon Studios is developing the untitled drama based on the novels, written and executive produced by Aisha Carr from Government Cheese. Never heard of it, but it sounds interesting.
And money on the name just being the title of the first book.
Very possibly, yes. I don't know if this is the first book that's on this image, but it says Long Road to Mercy.
That's not a bad title for a show.
Yeah. So it follows an exceptional FBI agent, Atlee Pine, as she finds herself at a crossroads in her life and career. She has to go back to solve the one case that has shaped her entire existence.
Please
the disappearance of her twin sister 30 years ago.
No.
Well, it definitely crossed the line.
See, that's not even personal and professional. I mean, it kind of is in function, but not in wording. But it is the hometown return.
And also kind of the dark secret from your past as well. Like, it's kind of the secret of who...
I need to drink for this.
Killed her sister. Yes, go. Yeah, drink for it. Yes.
Yeah, how many times?
So, I mean... Well, you kind of got half the personal and professional, so let's just say 2 overall, and we'll call it there.
2. All right.
All right. Yes, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, there's a few tropes that show up in these show descriptions that Connor will take a drink for. Any sort of version of professional and personal life being described. Someone returning to their hometown for some reason, or from their youth perhaps, is maybe a straight stretch of it, or something unveiling a secret from their past in some way.
Or a family secret.
Or a family secret, yes, which this obviously is falling under. So
yeah.
But there you go. And
first show and I got 2 drinks already.
Nah, this was the 3rd show.
Oh yeah, but the first one to hit.
Oh, okay.
It gives me 2. We're only a sentence in.
Yeah. So I mean, this being at Amazon Studios means this might be more interesting than, even though I can see it being on like Fox or CBS or.
If this was a description of any network show, I'd be like, yep, yeah, that wouldn't feel out of place at all.
Yeah. Well, Netflix are still making stuff because they've got Robert De Niro in his first TV role coming up. He's going to star and executive produce in a limited series called Zero Day from Eric Newman and Noah Oppenheim. So it's in development. They're keeping the details secretive, but apparently De Niro's going to play a former US president in a political thriller. So,
okay. I mean, obviously that's not much to go on, but I can see De Niro in that role.
He's a big name. That's a big deal. So, there you go. So that is that, and then next up, we're getting an adaptation of a young adult suspense thriller called We Were Liars. E. Lockhart is the writer of the books, and it's landed at Amazon. Julie Plec and her My So-Called Company banner and Universal Television are developing it, along with the Vampire Diaries co-creator. Well, that's where the co-creator is based. Julie Plec is. So, yeah, Amazon Prime Video is taking on the project and has set up a writer's room for it. We Were Liars is a tragic love story and an amnesia thriller set on a privately owned island off the coast of Massachusetts. Focusing on the theme of consequences of one's mistakes, the series follows the wealthy, seemingly perfect Sinclair family who spend every summer sitting gathered on their private island. However, not every year is the same when something happens to Cadence during the summer of her 15th year at, I hate how this is worded. She and the other three liars, Johnny, Gat, and Mirren, re-emerge 2 years later to prompt Cadence to remember the incident.
I don't know if that counts as Secret from the Past.
Nah, I mean, it sounds like that's the prologue, and I mean, if it said during our childhood and it jumped ahead like 10 years, then I'd say it would maybe count, but 2 years,
yeah.
In her 15th year, I'm like, yeah, I hate this. I hate this from the description.
Yeah, I'm never watching this. You might, but I'm not.
Well, not by choice.
Well, I didn't say by choice, but you might still watch it.
All right,
it's
next up.
You sometimes, isn't it?
Riley Cool from the Terminal List is going to star and executive produce in a show for Hulu, a limited series called Under the Bridge, which is based on a book by Rebecca Godfrey. So nothing to do with the Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Oh, the first thing my mind went to as well. I was.
Cole will play the late author Godfrey in the adaptation of the 1997 true story of the 40-year-old Rena Virk, who went to join friends at a party and then never returned home. In the book, Godfrey takes readers into the hidden world of the 7 teenage girls and a boy accused of savage murder, revealing the startling truths about the unlikely killer. So,
sounds very generic.
Yeah.
It's just murder mystery, basically, right? But like, hey, look, it's all these teenagers.
Yeah, the true crime knows it's a hot commodity.
It is. I still don't. I don't get it. I don't. I just don't understand the appeal. I'm yet to see any true crime thing that I'm like, okay, I'm convinced. Maybe one day. Maybe this will be. No, this won't be the thing.
Yeah, not for me. I don't think either. But you never know. I mean, this is not a thing where, again, execution's everything. No pun intended. Yeah. Next up, Daisy Ridley is going to star and executive produce in a series based on a best-selling novel called The Christie Affair. The writer of this will be Juliet Tauhidi, and the original author is Nina de Gramont. So, Miramax TV is the one behind this. It's a murder mystery. In 1926, when her husband's affair became public, Agatha Christie vanished for 11 days. In this reimagining, told through the eyes of her husband's mistress, Nan Odia, played by Ridley, Nan and Agatha become entwined in each other's lives in ways neither expected.
Yeah, I've seen so many things set in those 11 days. And
I've never heard of this 11-day period, but sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a thing. I'm pretty sure, I've even seen some of the debunked have been like, there wasn't even like 11 days. It was just it's some days that aren't quite accounted for in her like diary or whatever, something like that. It's just like, yeah, well, it was probably nothing. It is the general consensus, but of course there are conspiracies and stories, because why wouldn't there be, right? And yeah. This sounds really trashy.
Perfect for an actor from Star Wars, then.
Hey, she's good. And also, she was posting on Instagram this week. Maybe she wasn't there this week, but she was posting pictures that showed her at Lucasfilm. I don't think she was pictures of herself there, just, like they've got like a Yoda statue in like the lobby or whatever, and she's posting pictures of it, and it's like, oh, a lot of speculation that she's there in talks to be doing something, and there's a lot of speculation of it being TV show related, and her being
I feel like you just added in the speculation of it being TV related just to justify why you brought it up on this.
No, I actually didn't, but that is the primary speculation, is that, because obviously right now Disney seem a lot less interested in Star Wars movies than they do Star Wars TV, right? True. Things could change. Maybe it is a movie they've got in mind, but she has voiced some of the animated stuff already for the TV and like the YouTube stuff that they've done in the last few years. So there is a reason to think that it is probably leaning towards a TV project, if it's anything at all. I mean, you never know. It could be nothing.
As someone who's not passionate about Star Wars and is kind of sick of hearing about it quite quickly once it came back. Mm-hmm. Them ballsing up the movies so badly that they just didn't want to make any more after the
kind of impressive that they managed it.
I'm like, I couldn't have imagined in my wildest dreams that they would accomplish that to the point where I've now went 3 years with no new Star Wars movie, and there's none on the horizon. Like, if there's the next one has to be at least 2 years away, and that's if they announce it like right now.
Yeah, I mean, they did announce a few, and we were meant to get the Jenkins one, right? The Pi Jenkins one, but then that went to shit.
Yeah, nothing shooting. Everything's
yeah,
and they've just swapped out their CEOs again at Disney. So I mean, who knows what's going on over there with decisions getting made? So anyway,
yeah, God knows. But just on a personal note on that, I'm okay with it, because every single one of my favorite Star Wars projects has been TV, not film, really. So I'm okay with it.
Like the holiday special, that was TV.
Oh yeah, that's top 3 Star Wars material.
Yeah, definitely the top 3 things that George Lucas has ever written. That's not a joke. That's just kind of almost factual.
It's very harsh. I mean,
I'm kind of throwing like Return of the Jedi under the bus a little bit with that, but
a little bit, yeah.
Maybe fourth's a better. Anyway, so next up, George Stephanopoulos, I believe it is. Stephanopoulos. There you go, George Stephanopoulos. There's too many letters in that word. Like, what the hell?
There is, yeah.
How dare you? And Ali Wentworth have launched a new production company called Bed by 8, and they've got 2 scripted projects already in the works right out of the gate. So the first one's called Let's Not Do That Again, and it revolves around Nancy Harrison, who is about to win the Senate race until her daughter Greta makes headlines throwing a bottle of champagne through a bistro's window. Or sorry, bistro, sorry.
Bistro?
Bistro? In Paris. Bistro. Okay. A bistro's window in Paris. Her floundering son Nick, desperate to escape the family's career clutches and focus on his Joan Didion musical, must first help Nancy clean up the pieces. As the wreckage keeps growing, Nancy and her children are forced to reckon with extremist protesters, powerful New York socialites, but worst of all, each other.
Yeah. So there was a point halfway through that description. I was like, "Oh shit! I see where this is going."
It pivoted into personal just at the end there.
I did. It was just like the way it was worded. It was like, I'm starting to get a feeling, and it went there. It went there.
not that you can't make shows about like people in like a rich class or but all I could think when I was reading this is that this is so unrelatable to like most people. Like so much of this was just, I don't know, just the way it was written just made it all sound a bit hoity-toity and like, let's follow these rich people. The son's putting on a play. Like,
but so's like, I don't know, Bridgerton. And that was stupidly popular.
I suppose. The other one, there's less about this one in terms of description, but it's called Intelligence. What do you think Intelligence is about?
Nothing good.
It's about people who work in the basement, known as the mines of the CIA. That's it. That's all we've got for that.
Sure, this isn't a CBS show.
It may end up. I mean, there's no networks attached to these. This could end up at CBS.
Yeah, that's got CBS written all over.
Why would you call it You've got a better title. You just said that you've nicknamed it the Mines. That's a better title. That goes, oh, the Mines. What's that? And then it's like, oh, it's the Mines of the CIA. Like, there's at least a bit of intrigue with that title. It sounds like something. Intelligence just sounds like the most generic title for a CIA show ever.
And they're really shooting them because every poster they ever do, Intelligence has to be dead center. Like in their graphic design. Otherwise, someone's messed up.
All right, next up. NBC. We're an NBC show. NBC is developing a drama series. Eliza Starts a Rumor, based on the book of the same name by Jane L. Rosen. From executive producers Wendy Strakerhauser, Dana Honor, and Liz Astroff. So got an overall deal with Universal, so they're working with Universal Television. Not surprising, it's NBC. Emily Starts a Rumor. Sorry, I just changed the name to Emily there. Eliza Starts a Rumor will follow a group of women in a small town, Hudson Valley, who are affected by an anonymous rumor on a mummy blog about an affair. What starts as an innocent attempt to stay relevant snowballs into a series of events that reveal secrets, fears, and ultimately an unlikely friendship between four women at different ages and stages of parenthood. It never went professional, so
it didn't. No,
it was very personal the whole time.
It was. Your face when you had to say "mummy blog" was priceless, though.
I didn't feel like I put on a face, but
no, you did, and you could feel the disdain coming through your voice. Like, what is this shit? As if you've never heard of Mumsnet.
I have not heard of Mumsnet.
Have you not? Oh, it's huge. It's like it's just this. It's a thing where, mums post questions and like it's a forum. It's an old school internet forum that somehow still goes.
Okay. It's a shame a series of unfortunate events has already taken place because the description was really sounding like it's a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
But hey, what are you gonna do? I mean, I'll give it. It's very simple and descriptive. But Eliza Starts a Rumor is a much better title than most things on CBS.
Oh, 100%.
It's something. It gives me something.
It even gives you a sense of tone, I would say.
Yeah, there's maybe a slight sense of humor to it.
Yeah.
All right, ABC next. They've given it a pilot order for a legal shop from Charmed showrunner Joey Falco. Based on this photo, I'm going to assume it's the newer version of Charmed because he looks far too young to have been showrunning something in the 90s. Yeah. Falco, who also wrote Sleepy Hollow and Heroes Reborn. Oh, jeez. Oh.
I really like the first season and a half of Sleepy Hollow.
I don't know which part. I don't know which part he wrote.
It's maybe first, like season and 2/3, and then they ended. They got to the point where they're like, "Yeah, this is the story. We're done." And then they went, "No, you're not. Do some more."
The series plays out over 2 timelines. Wait, was there a... Oh, Judgment. I was like, did I say a title? It is buried in there, but it wasn't like...
It's a generic title.
Yeah, it's very, very generic. It plays out over 2 timelines. 15 years from now, a woman being vetted for a Supreme Court seat. I'm so sorry, a Supreme Court seat. I laughed at Supreme Court because I didn't read this earlier, and I'm just laughing, and that's what the premise is because there's been a lot of talk of the Supreme Court recently. But yeah, so a woman being vetted for the Supreme Court recounts her experience at a prominent DC law firm in 2023. which is obviously present day when this comes out, where the only thing more controversial than the cases was her messy love life. Caught between two feuding brothers. Now, it's not even just that we've got a personal and professional. She's in like a love triangle with two brothers. This is just mwah. This is like the chef's kiss of shit. No.
Do you know what? This is so, like you say, chef's kiss of shit. I think I need to drink something nicer than the usual swill to respect the effort that this is going to.
I'm not even done yet. Now, with the Supreme Court seat on the line, all of her darkest secrets are at risk of coming out, threatening her nomination, her reputation, and her marriage!
Hang on. That's double personal and professional.
Yes.
And darkest secrets.
Oh, kind of, yeah, because it's all about the secrets coming out, because it's got the framing device of the future timeline.
Yeah.
You're right, kind of, yeah.
What do I even drink to... You know what? Hang on a second. I'm gonna get something nice out for this.
Oh my! We're breaking out the expensive booze apparently. I mean, in a way, it's a good thing that it's not catching all the clanking of the bottles. But I do think, for comedy's sake, if we heard nothing but clanking right now, as Connor's rummaging through what I can only assume is a crate full of numerous bottles of booze, it would add a lot to this moment.
I'll give you some clanking. Yeah, no, I'm going to pull out the, this is a Jura 16 year that has been discontinued, so you can't even buy this anymore.
Oh my.
That's how much I respect the effort that this damn thing went to.
And a love triangle with two brothers. And it gave us two professional, like, other than saying the exact phrase personal and professional life, it gave us two textbook examples of that sentiment. Textbook.
What's textbook?
But yeah, that's Judgment and Development at ABC.
And that was a damn fine drink.
Oh, sorry, pilot order. Sorry, it was a pilot order at ABC. There you go. All right. So we got 3 CBS stories to finish with.
I wanted to get up early tomorrow to watch some football.
First up, this one just says CBS Studios, so it's probably CBS, but you know, I'll put that out there. It doesn't say CBS, the network. It's teamed with Damon Wayans Jr. to create a Baltimore set version of its African drama MTV Shuga. That's SHUGA, Shuga. Oh, sorry, this is for Paramount Plus. Oh, I didn't even. I saw CBS Studios and shoved it in this part of the.
It's a good job you clarified earlier, isn't it? That this may not be for CBS.
Yeah. Well, it turns out I was right. It's not for CBS. They are tied to Paramount Plus though, so you know I don't feel so stupid. But anyway, so Shuga Baltimore is what they're calling it. Will follow the lives of 6 people seeking to find beauty in their futures while surviving in the rapidly tech-gentrifying Maryland city. Billed as a hyper-surrealist tale, the show is now in development, with Greg Mello Brown writing.
Okay,
I don't even know what to say.
Boring sounding.
Yeah,
that didn't have much going for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much to say, but I was expecting more of a comedy because it's Damon Wayans Jr., but it does specifically say drama, so
it does, yeah.
Fair play. All right, okay, actual CBS. We got 2 CBS stories to wrap up with. CBS is developing East West, a medical drama from writer-producer Yalun Tu, who worked on NCIS Hawaii, and M. Raven Metzner, who worked on Iron Fist.
Bringing in the big guns now.
Okay. Written by that pair, East West revolves around a pair of newly connected half-siblings. One, an Asian American medical doctor. The other, a Taiwanese traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, who utilize their sometimes clashing, sometimes complementary Eastern and Western expertise to solve medical mysteries alongside a team of brilliant doctors.
Oh, medical.
The word medical was there a lot. Well, medical or medicine, like that popped up a lot in that paragraph.
I'll give him some credit for the title actually being not bad.
The title makes sense for it, yeah. I think what gets me is, this is not a drinking rule trope, but there is a trope that it's like siblings who didn't know each other, like starting to either get to know each other or live together.
In the last couple of years, yeah.
There's a lot of that going on, and this kind of falls into that a little bit. But with the boring medical drama being shoved down your throat the entire time.
They've got medical mysteries to solve.
Honestly, a show called Medical Mysteries actually sounds quite catchy.
That must have been done.
You would think it would have been. I feel like it's probably like a true story show though.
Yeah, it's more like a MythBusters sort of show. Yeah.
Yeah. But there you go. So as what I point out, the ABC and NBC both made you drink, and CBS is now 0-1, which is
they've got a shot here still.
Yeah.
They're not going to top that last one though.
Yeah. Well, nothing's ever topping that description of The Bear, which is actually apparently a well-loved show that people like, but that description...
I mean, yeah. Which goes to show we mock some of these descriptions, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad shows.
No. They could end up being really well-made shows, but...
It's generic written descriptions.
CBS is developing St. Mark's, a medical drama. That's back-to-back medical dramas. From David Marshall Grant from Million Little Things and Megan King Kelly from Teenage Bounty Hunters.
I vaguely remember that starting.
Yes. In St. Mark's, a Muslim chaplain reeling from a crisis of faith and a science-focused elite surgeon lead a team of... This has become a CBS thing. It's a buddy doctor show, but one of them's from the East. It's a buddy doctor show, but one of them's a Muslim chaplain.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's buddy doctors with clashing cultures.
Yes, it's culture clash. That's the thing. Yes. So yeah, they'll lead the elite team of surgeons, doctors, and blah blah blah, and hospital chaplains. There's always a lot of them running around at one hospital, in their attempts to heal the bodies and souls of the people of Minneapolis. I feel like we just got two prime CBS descriptions, but they just dodged all the drinking rules. But they were both very CBS.
They were, yeah. And the thing is, like the first part of that description, like the Muslim chaplain with a crisis of faith in a hospital. I can see a really good drama with that as your lead character, right? Yeah, because there's a lot of potential there of, this religious man surrounded presumably by people who are desperate for religion and finding it in their final moments often, right? Because that's, a lot of people are terrified of dying all of a sudden and be like, oh shit, God, right? So I can see a really good drama in that juxtaposition of those positions. Just not on CBS.
No, not on CBS. Nothing good ever comes from
never
CBS.
On CBS.
No, not in... I think CBS might have had a good sitcom or two in the 90s. That's maybe the last success they had.
I would give them the first season of Supergirl.
Okay. That's not like a, knock out the park success, but yeah, sure.
It's not, but I mean, it's better than where it ended.
That's true. That said, though, I think given how sick I am of superhero TV and movies, I don't think the season 1 of Supergirl would even be a blip on my radar at this point.
It absolutely would not. But I'm just saying, I still think there were better seasons of it on the CW, like season 3, whatever that was. I think it was season 3 was a good one. But like by the end of the show, man, that first season looks almost gold in comparison, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. That's the news. Ended on CBS. I really thought there might not be enough to do an episode this week, but ended up in quite a meaty bunch. So that's
we kind of rambled on a lot, but
that's a bit of rambling. We did our Go Weekly Netflix You Bastards conversation again. Seems to be a recurring theme.
It is getting repetitive at this point, but they keep giving us shit to complain about.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, when the creators behind the content are clearly like investigating like their own advertising on Twitter, it does beg the question that maybe some people are unhappy.
It's like, cause I don't watch tons of stuff on Netflix, enough that it's worth having, but not enough that I watch loads of their content. But I watch Midnight Mass, and I never got this, pushed on my algorithm at all.
They're too busy pushing I don't know what's the stupid thing Netflix has got to.
It's fine. They've got a Dragon Age show coming like next week, so I'm good.
Do they?
They have an animated Dragon Age show. I'm pretty sure that's in like the... Yeah. I'm sure it's like next week.
I know. I thought it was live action. I was like, how did I not know there was a live action Dragon Age coming? It's animated. It doesn't count. It's fine.
Yeah. That if you didn't know about that, that'd be weird.
Oh wait, there we go. That's this week's almost cancelled TV news. There's always a couple of weeks off at Christmas. I don't know if that starts, like, how soon that starts. There might be enough news for a show next week. We'll see how it goes. But do be aware that at any point the news could dry up for the Christmas season in the coming weeks.
I'd say typically we usually get another week or two, but
I'm just warning everyone just in case there isn't one. Don't worry, we'll be back swinging. Whenever it does stop for Christmas, we'll be back swinging in January again. Yeah. But that is that. But like I said earlier, I finished reviewing all of 1899 season 1. Certainly, big final 5 minutes.
Which I'm assuming means some cliffhangers, which Netflix has presumably not renewed it yet.
Oh, there's yes. It's not finished. It's not in a neat bow. I'll say that.
Shocking. The creators of Dark didn't leave something neat at the end of a season.
Yes. So there's that. Also of note, worth mentioning, me and Tara started reviewing the original Quantum Leap this week. Got a review at the first episode. We're going to be reviewing it whenever the new show's not on. It'll kind of take its place when it's on break.
And then when it gets cancelled, it'll just be this one anyway.
Aye, pretty much. That's the plan. So maybe go check out that, especially if you like that show. If you've not seen it before, maybe you want to watch along with us. You can go do that. But yeah, so check that out. But otherwise, though, that is us. Check out Male Fuzz Movies, of course, as well, for all the movie podcasts over there. There's 3 main movie podcasts on that channel. All of them are available in podcast feeds as well. So go and look at the YouTube channel, see what's available, and then if you want to get the audio versions, you can seek them out as well. But that is the show. That has been everything. You can support everything by liking, subscribing, down the bell for notifications, commenting down below, rating the podcast on your Apple podcast app or wherever you get your podcast from. And of course, you can go over to patreon.com/MaleFuzzTV and support us for any amount every month to help keep all the content coming. But that is us. That is the show. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?